Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Franklin from Couples Talk. Now, on today's video, I want to share with you, and I'm excited about this, what every girl should know before saying I do. Now, the reason I want to share these thoughts with you is because this is a huge decision, and I believe that before this decision is made, as a young lady, you must, or rather you should know some very important truth that goes with that decision that says I do. It's not enough to receive a proposal. There's nothing wrong with that, but beyond receiving a proposal from a young man, there are lots of things that you need to consider before anything. So those are the things that I want to share with you in this video. Now, if this is your first time of coming to this channel, we talk about marriage, relationships, and everything in between. So don't forget to subscribe, like the video at the end of this session, and most importantly, click on the notifications bell so that the next time I post a new video, you'll be the first to receive it. Now, on this channel, me and my wife, we are the ones that are going to be putting out content here. So get yourself ready, because there's so much that we have to share with you. So let's get started. The first thing you must know as a young lady with that decision that says I do is that you must know that it is for a lifetime. When you are saying I do to that young man, it is for a lifetime. A lifetime. So the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to live your life with that young man for the rest of your life? Think about it. The next thing you must know is that this decision is going to decide the next 40 to 50 years of your life. Which means how your life will go in the next 40, 50, 60 years. It's dependent on this one decision that you are making. Years ago, I know about a particular young lady who met this young man. This is not a story I was told, okay? I knew them. She was in another nation. She was doing well as a healthcare worker. And the young man was also in another nation. And they started out, they started talking. And long story short, the young lady decided to let go of her job and came down to this other nation to meet with the young man. When she came to meet the young man, the both of them, they were happy. It's normal. And they started living together. It was when she came, she began to realize that the young man doesn't really have any tangible thing that he was doing and all that. So in the long run, this young lady developed a certain ailment after so many years of being together. Remember, she had abandoned her life in her other nation. She had abandoned her job. Now she was living with this guy. And guess what? It was a sad story though, but in the long run, the lady had issues, health issues. There was not enough money to handle the issue. And finally, the young lady died. Now, I am not saying that what she did was wrong, having to go with the love of her life. I'm not saying it was wrong, but you see, that decision finally decided the path she was going to follow. In the same way, you have to be mindful. It's not enough to say, I do. You've got to consider the situation very well. You've got to consider this person very well, because when you say, I do, it's going to decide the next 40 to 50 years of your life. Make no mistakes about it. So the question is, have you done your background check? Don't be fooled by the present way of how you feel, because, listen, in the long run, that feeling is going to die and reality will kick in. So, you've got to understand this. The next thing you need to put into consideration before you say, I do, is that decision puts your emotional life in the hands of that young man. Are you sure he's capable to handle your emotions? Are you sure he's not going to play with your emotions? Are you sure he's not going to abuse your emotions? Have you thought about all these? Some of you will say, oh, well, how do I know if he's going to do that? Of course you will know. That's why there is a reason for courtship. Because during courtship, you start perceiving and sensing the things that you need to sense. The challenge a lot of time is that most people don't even know what courtship is meant for. The things that they are supposed to put their focus on during courtship, that's not what they put their focus on during courtship. I'm going to be doing a video regarding that. Things you need to watch out for during courtship, because this will go a very long way to help you in your decision making. So understand this. Before you say, I do, you've got to understand that you are putting your emotional life in the hands of that man. Can he take care of it? Are you sure he can take care of it? Think about it. There are so many young ladies today who are trapped in their marriages. Why? Because when they said, I do, the only thing they cared about is, I do. Or rather, the only thing they cared about was the proposal, and they didn't find it difficult to just say, I do. But you see, that's a hard decision to make. It doesn't matter how beautiful the ring may be. It doesn't matter how wonderful the proposal may have looked like. Hear me. What matters most is what happens after the ring, the proposals. Because you could be putting on a very beautiful ring, but guess what? You're not happy. So if you're going to make something good out of your life, you must be mindful of this decision. For real, you must be mindful of this decision. So think about it. This decision puts your emotional life in the hands of that man. So be mindful. The next thing that you've got to understand before you say I do is that decision is what will determine your happiness for the years to come. Have you thought about this? Do you really think that you're going to be happy? For some young ladies, they don't care about happiness. They just, as long as the guy is loaded, as long as the guy has got money to take care of her, they don't really care. But guess what? Money without happiness is nothing. So, this decision will determine your happiness. It's going to determine your happiness. Make no mistakes about it. Get a point now. So, be mindful of that. And the next thing that you must know before you say I do, okay, is that decision puts your life in the hands of that young man. And I cannot stress this enough. Again and again, each time I look at my wife, one of the things that I see is the responsibility that God has bestowed on me. It's not enough for us to live together. I've got a responsibility towards her. And not just towards her parents. You get the point now? And interestingly, our both lives is in each other's hands. My life is in her hands, and her life is kind of in my hands. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody's life is in the hands of God. But what I'm saying is, that decision to come and live together, it puts your lives in each other's hands. There are lots of young ladies today who have passed on. That's because the young man they decided to get married to was not a responsible young man. So I want you to think about this very carefully. That young man that you want to say I do for, do you really think your life is preserved in his hands? Do you really think you are safe in his hands? Have you considered this? I know some people will shrug it off and like, come on, what are you saying? I love this guy. Hear me. As you move on in marriage, you understand that it takes more than love for a marriage to be sustained. I know this might sound shocking to you, but it's the truth. It takes more than love for a marriage to be sustained. One of the things that sustains marriage is being responsible. That guy that has proposed to you or you are considering, do you really think he's responsible enough to spend the rest of your life with? Think about it. Because at the moment you say I do, you have put your whole life in his care. And if he's not a responsible young man, if he's not a reasonable young man, you're going to live the rest of your life in pains. You're going to live the rest of your life in agony. And nobody will be able to do anything about you because it was your decision. So think. We've seen cases where the young man is maltreating the young lady. When the young man is going out, he will lock the young lady at home, trying to make sure that the young lady does not go out. I mean, there are some young men, when you enter into their hands, you've entered into a life trap. Have you thought about this? Before you say I do, you should consider these things. For real. Now, the next thing you must consider before you say I do is that decision means you're going to be under that man's authority for life. You're going to be under that man's authority because the Bible has made us to understand that the man is the head. The head of the man is Jesus Christ. And then the head of the woman is the man. Do you really think you want to be under this man's authority? Have you decided that you're going to be under this man's authority? Because it would be very, very wrong of you if after you've said I do and you don't want to submit to his authority. Because that decision that you are about to make, it indirectly says, I am going to be under your authority. I'm going to be submissive to your authority. So do not make that decision and at the end of the day, you are complaining and you're like, you don't want to be under that man's authority. You can't do that, remember. So you've got to consider it now. Do you truly think that you can be under his authority? Think about it. the next thing you must know before you say I do is that that decision means you are moving out of your parents' jurisdiction. This is another lovely one. You know, a lot of time, because you've grown up with your parents for so many years, most young ladies, they don't really know that the very moment they say I do, you are no longer in your parents' jurisdiction. You are now in your husband's jurisdiction, which means when you are finally married, you cannot keep running back home. No, you can't run back home. You've got to be in your husband's place. So before you say I do, you should look at that guy very well. Do you really think he's worth moving out of your parents' jurisdiction? Think about it. Do you think he's worth it? Because after you've gotten married, you're not going to be running home again and again. Your mother did not do that, and so neither should you. So that's something that you need to work on. Think about this, because it's very serious. The next decision the next thing you need to do, if you must say I do, you must understand that that decision means you are signing up for a wife responsibilities, which means you're going to be to that man a wife, you're going to be to your children a mother, and all these roles have responsibilities. There are responsibilities that you must meet. So have you thought about it? Do you think you are ready? Are you sure you are ready? Because the very moment you say I do, that's what you're indirectly saying. Now I'm sharing this because there are some ladies today who want to be married, but they don't want to fulfill that responsibility as a wife. You've got to understand it's not gonna work. You've got to be ready. You've got to make a conscious decision and say, come on, I am ready for this. So are you willing? Are you willing? Because that decision that says I do, it means you are saying I am going to be a wife to you who will fulfill her responsibilities as a wife. Which means you're going to wake up very early in the morning to prepare food for your husband. You're going to take care of the house. Do the house chores and all that. Are you willing for all that? Which means you're going to take care of your husband, your children, you're going to attend to them, and there is no giving up. As long as you're willing to do this, then you're good to go. Now, I'm not trying to put fear in you. I'm just trying to say, before you say I do, you should be willing to consider your decisions. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry at all. So that'll be all for this video. I will see you in the next part. Now, if you've gained value from what I've shared with you thus far, let me know those things that has resonated with you in the comment box. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask me those questions in the comment box. I'll be willing to share those thoughts with you. I'll also put the mail address in the comment box. Feel free to send an email, ask me questions, and I'll be willing to get back to you. And don't forget to like the video, share with your friends, those friends of yours whom you know this video will be of benefit to them. Share with them, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to click on the notifications bell so that the next time I post a new video, you'll be the first to receive it. So I'll see you in the next part.